Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the returning player in the blue, one of the few, the proud, the Protoss. It's Trap. But he's up against the wild and reckless Zerg in the red. We have Shin. A best of 3 Protoss versus Zerg showdown. And limited time only offer. For the low price of 1 like and 1 subscribe, we can put together a fund to remind Shin that the adrenal glands upgrade exists when he gets Hive Tech, and save me from having a small aneurysm about 50% of the time. And also, Jimmy, what are we? 1,408 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. First couple of Depth Shade Necros Oracle on the way. Already a bit of creep spread out there to meet it. And the Queen to strongly disagree with the presence of the Protoss. But the Protoss have never really respected their wishes anyways. That's like half the plot of StarCraft 2. Meanwhile, the Adepts, well, actually shade all the way into the main, maybe calling a bluff that there won't be too many Zerglings, but Shin already built a few more. Takes one down, Adept shade away, and both of them get out, and that buys a little time for the Oracle to come in, but 2 Queens on station. We go through the motions of the Oracle taking most of its hull damage, ends up killing. Well, the Oracle itself got 3 drones, so not too bad. Gets out with the orange HP. Another Oracle on the way. More Oracles in production. Trap has had quite a lot of success in this matchup recently. Embracing those styles that, well, he popularized back in the day. The Oracle Adept timings. Things that maybe a little bit more aggressive, a little bit spicier. Not that Protoss would have any idea what that means. Protoss don't have mouths, but strategies that can catch Zerg just a little bit off guard, and that's all you need. As Zerg is maybe not a well-oiled machine, maybe none of those things, really. Though creep is kind of like oil, if you think about it. But 6 more drones killed. Zerglings, the Adept using the evolution chamber against the Zerg. Working with what he's been provided. 2 more Oracles come in, and the drones are just being slaughtered. 1 Oracle goes down, but the drone... Okay, well, the second one would be too much, but... Wow! 16 drones! It is not safe for workers here in Shin's base, as Trap just guts the mineral lines. Shin still has 46 of them. He has to replace 20. But those are all larvae and resources that could have been used for, ideally, anything else. But not really doing his due diligence. The Queen's not in position. The third base didn't have a spore. Well, Trap kind of delayed it a bit, but ends up costing him even more. And that means the follow-up, which is going to be Blink and +1, is likely a strong option. Though for Shin, good for him that he has a +1 melee attack upgrade halfway done. And a lair working its way there as well. Does he have a Roach one? No. So just Zerglings. 58 workers apiece. Zergling counterattack angling towards the third, where the Oracles are with the soon-to-be Blink Stalkers, though the Queens are doing their best to make sure they don't feel welcome. Zerglings into the third base, but looking for a surround on the Stalkers, which is a bit optimistic. Does he go for the shield battery overcharge? More Zerglings getting cut off. 3 more drones dead. Did we see anything else go down? No, but we did see back in time. It's like a reverse time warp. Yes, those Stalkers. Shin trying to figure out how shield batteries work for a moment there, but eventually decides it's not going to work out for him. Oracles come back. Hydralisk Den's now on the way. A more direct response to the Blink Stalkers. And when you go for a bunch of Blink Stalkers like this, you're very unlikely to have, well, 1 Colossi. That's a long way off. And Templar Archives is a bit of a shorter reach, but still quite an expensive investment. The investment that Trap is making. But it's a long time until Storm is finished. So Shin, while he's taken heavy economic damage. It also cost Trap some of the time he could have been using to put towards a larger attack and warping in more and more adepts, poking in with those oracles. Overall, though, I like Trap's position. He's able to get all his tech up, whereas Shin is kind of scrambling to find some damage. But he's put together 60 Zerglings on the field, 60 drones in his mineral lines. 4th base is now completed. Infestation Pit is on the way. So, the tech is coming together, and Shin, I think, realizing that it's unlikely the Zerglings themselves are going to find the damage. He's going for the surround, tries to preempt the blink. Oracle on the back line. Hydra's coming up. Trap a bit optimistic for how much he can get done here. Ends up losing several extra stalkers. He certainly didn't need to. The Oracle's covering the retreat. The Stasis Ward also almost certainly never going to happen in that sort of situation. And now Storm is halfway done, but the Hydras and Lings have arrived. And the 4th base, well, the Stasis creates something of a force field. And that Stasis alone, I think, will make the difference. Without it, very unlikely that Trap can defend this base. With it, still unlikely, but just slightly less so. Shin just right-clicks on the base with the Zerglings. He's got Hive on the way. Now place your bets. Does he remember it this time around? I wouldn't put any money on. Lurker Den's on the way, but Trap kind of squandering that space he created with the early economic damage. Moving out with a half-hearted Blink Stalker timing. Getting a bunch of his Stalkers cut off, and then losing his 4th base. And now his alternative 4th on the way. Not for long, though, forced to cancel. Not even that close to completion. So now Shin is sitting on 80 drones. He's about to have Hive on the way, or Hive completed, rather. 8 Lurkers in production. So Trap trying to assert some sort of map control. That Hive's done. Lurker range starts. Definitely the highest priority upgrade. Lurkers without Hive tech upgrades are like a hot dog with no bun. It's raw. And, well, maybe more palatable for the Proton. Well, nothing is palatable for the Protons. You got the idea. Or maybe you didn't. Either way, we're moving on from this. Zealots slicing through the Zerglings and canceling the base over to the 9 o'clock with the main army. 12 Overlords on the way for Shin. The things he'll do besides research adrenal glands for his dozens of Zerglings. Meanwhile, a fleet beacon is on the way as he calls to the Sky Toss for aid in dealing with the Lurkers. As a direct response is possible, but not probable. If your opponent has this sort of economy, they can send Lurkers pretty much everywhere. Shin is going to have more than enough Lurkers in order to keep Trap pinned down. So he needs to reach to the skies and make sure that Shin has to invest in anti-air instead of just focused entirely on anti-ground. A Tempest, multiple Tempests on the way as a response to this. I do like the Tempest as an option against the Lurkers, but they also have some very direct responses themselves. I think this may have been a carrier situation, but we're going, only time will tell. And, well, time is now named Olivero, so I don't see him here. Bolstering the defenses, another half dozen cannons and shield batteries, give or take. Adaptive talents, that Lurker burrow speed now completed. Slapping down even more cannons. The Revelation, yup, that's a lot of Zerg. And maintaining that detection so important, but the Oracle almost goes down. That last one as well has to pull back. Tempest, but Shin just going straight up the center. Slicing his way through. Recalls, like 3 Stalkers. Not sure about that one. I thought, okay, there's a couple Templar with energy for Storm. And now Trap forced back. Or Shin, rather, forced back as Trap holds the line with the Tempest. This base is not going to happen. The Lurker's zoning it out easily. Meanwhile, couple Zealot counterattack at least draws some of the attention away. Shin's nearly maxed out. Well, he's at 199, so Shin is maxed out. Whereas Trap at 167. Got a Shrine to Dark on the way. Plus 3 ground weapons begun. as well as +2 armor. About halfway down. Spire for Shin. Nearly completed. A direct response to those Tempest. Oracle gets slapped out of the sky by the Hydras. No Vipers. And again, no Adrenal Glands. Despite the dozens going on hundreds of Zergling. Shit. This Shin right here. Lurkers now poking at the sides. There is detection. The Tempest will be able to deal with it. Very important to get those upgrades for air, though. Just now starting +1 Protoss air weapon. So, not really doing his due diligence on those upgrades. Shin, with money in the bank, already researching flyer attack. He's established a 5th base. He hasn't reached out for really any more. Lurkers dunk down yet again. Slice up some unlucky zealots. Moracle's on the way. Revelation, very important. Observers, completely unreliable. Anything that can be shot out of the sky is unreliable. Unfortunately, that's most of... No, my God. No. Okay. Wow, those Templar walking through the valley of the shadow of Lurker spines. 11 Corruptors on the way. Mothership in production. Shin making his Spire great again. More storms down the front. And the storm front will force Shin to retreat. Another base attempted by Trap, but it's just not going to happen. Does Trap actually know about that center base? He doesn't. Wow. It's so obvious. It's actually quite well hidden. Rarely do players take that as the first option, and Shin did not take it as the first option. But it's easy to forget there's just a base right down the center, even if you're taking that same base. And Shin's been mining from this for several minutes now. If Trap just thinks he's on 4 bases in this scenario, he's going to feel like he's in a much better position than he actually is. Trap has 128 army supply. He's getting DT Blink. He's getting tectonic destabilizers. All right? All he needs is the upgrade for headlight fluid, and he's going to be good to go across the board. 2 more Nexi in production. 5 Infestors. 9 Spore Crawlers on the way. Already a small Spore Church in front of the forward base. Tectonic Destabilizers does a massive amount of bonus damage to buildings specifically, and only buildings for those Tempests. So pretty much the hard counter to Spore Crawlers with Tempest, which is a bit of an odd thing. How many Tempests are there? 6 in total. There's now 17 Corruptors in the sky, which, of course, get a bonus against massive units like Tempest carriers, your mothership. And now the Corruptors finding it. Down goes the mothership. Time Warp will slow down a few of them. Sharking around again, but the Archons will be able to zone out. Does he build another one? We will see. 2 battle groups of armies. There are 6 Immortals with that center line one. The amount of observers. The Fungal is huge, but the Storms are more huger. Feedback connects as well. The Corruptors looking for an opportunity. This is a dangerous game that Trap is playing. Splitting his army up like this. Now he's consolidating it. There's not quite enough here. Oh no, the Spores took out the observers. And is there a revelation? Lurker slicing through some of the Templar, but now it's Trap's turn to go down the center. He's got the Storms. He's got Tempest to back it up. Immortals as a baseline. There are 7 Lurkers, but a lot of them coming up here. One of them goes down to Storm. Infestors burrow away. And right now, Trap is just carving his way through the Zerg. And now working on the heart of the Swarm. 9 Broodlords on the way. 16 more Corruptors in production. Archons are emerging, but the Tempests are taking massive shots at the Hydras as well. Charge lots come through. What do we have as a counterattack? The Lurker's just gonna dive onto the base at 3 o'clock. Hydra's coming down again. Zealot zoning out. Dark Templar have joined the fray. Sure, let's throw some Void Rays in production. 13 more Corruptors. I don't know how many of those are from the original batch that he warped in, or morphed in, either way. Meanwhile, though, Corruptors and Broodlords chasing the army. If you're gonna recall, it should have been 2 seconds ago. Now, it's just time to fight it out. Storms across the board. fungal, connecting. The Tempest surrounded by corruptors. Changelings as well on the ground, trying to body block some of this in. Overall, this trap, he's just now learning about this base. And also uses the Diva announcer, because of course he does. Meanwhile, that base. The DT is not quite able to take it out. One of them escapes. What announcer is it? No, wait, Shin using the Diva announcer. I'm not sure about Trap. Meanwhile, full retreat dealing with the Broodlords. Unfortunately, it'd be a great time to have Tempest. The enemy does indeed close from the skies as the Broodlords throw down their babies for their temporary yet very violent lives. Meanwhile, Void Ray charges up, but under the weight of that many Corruptors, easily crumbles, no matter the shield battery overcharge. The main base is being gutted by the Zealots, though. Archon's coming in. There's a congress of Corruptors in the sky right now, and the Broodlords are getting chased down. Not nearly enough of them to actually compete with this. A single Broodlord escapes. A single Stalker, living up to its name, gets distracted. The Broodlord will be saved. Another mothership is on the way. Zealots slicing up all the infrastructure, gonna cut down the entire tech tree here, including the hive itself. Focuses on the Greater Spire. Mothership is on the way. Spine crawlers, the last backbone of defense. There's no more lurkers. There's the last Broodlord. What? There's some more lurkers. Surprise! And the lurkers from the back helping out a lot. Snipes off the last brood. Takes out the hatchery. The saddest recall I've ever seen. He doesn't get anything out with it. The lurkers are chasing. Trap is down to 117 supply, but he took out the Greater Spire and the not-so-great Spire. The DTs are working on the base. They're going to slice it through. The drones are pulled! The workers will revolt. The DT's hitting the hatch. He shift-queued it. He could be eviscerating a significant percentage of the drones that are left. The Corruptors could do nothing but watch. The Lurkers could do a lot more than that. And speaking of Lurkers, out at the front, slicing through with the spines, trying to micro his way out of this one. But a bit of a misplay there on a Trap. The thing is, there are so many Corruptors. He has 22 Corruptors, and what is he gonna do with them? He can go spray all over the bases. But there are still plenty of Stalkers on the field. Trap at 61 workers to 46 drones of Shin. And right now, Shin, his army, is 22 Corruptors, 10 Lurkers, and 24 non-adrenal gland Zerglings. I'm not gonna let that go. Like and subscribe to help get some help today. Meanwhile, the Immortals are coming up, the Storms, but like, what is even the point? The Corruptors are irrelevant at this stage. He's just kind of flying them around trying to eat shots. Storms his own observer, doesn't quite kill it. The Mothership has arrived, and a lair finally finished. These Lurkers need to be dealt with. Active cloaking, but there's still plenty of Spore Crawlers, and, well, he built the only thing the Corruptors could potentially kill with ease. And here we are. Alright, well, Shin is kind of restabilizing, but it's the economy, stupid. Like, 61 to... Yeah, Trap has taken a severe economic lead. He's now mining from 2-3 bases. He's got another 20 or so workers. He just needs to consolidate his forces and hold it together. Again, Shin is stuck on the outlying bases in the corner. His tech tree is almost non-existent. He's rebuilding the Lurker Den. He maintained those upgrades. He doesn't have a hive. That means... Why is there a Hydra burrow? This Hydra has had enough. You know what? Fair enough. Also... I love it. I've never really looked at a Hydra burrowed because they're slightly ashamed of it, to be honest. Well, Corruptors, supplies nearly even again. Though again, the worker count in favor of the Protoss. Another battle group sent out. This kind of split army has been paying off. The Corruptors are spraying all over the base. Shield battery overcharged to pat it on the back. Storming, he's just... Oh my god! The base dies so fast. But the rest of the battle group forcing the lurkers away. He's finally able to rebuild some of them. There are 15 lurkers on the field now. The Dark Templar is just dodging the hits. Struggling here. More lurkers coming through. That... Oh, the Observer! The Observer, all the Corruptors will dive on it. And the lurkers are holding for now. It might be time to switch back into the skies. There's still 18 Corruptors. But Trap still has access to most of the rest of the map. And coming in again. Revelation is good. The armies come through. And the lurkers, Zerglings around the back. Warp Prism trying to find somewhere to be useful. More storms. The Immortals are tied up by a handful of Zerglings without adrenal glands. Corruptors come in, wipe out the Warp Prism. And the lurkers, there's no detection here. The lurkers from the back. Oh no, it's a Protoss sandwich. A forbidden one indeed. And the lurkers just eviscerate, and he just taps out. Oh no. A disaster for Trap. Shin just let him fall onto the lurker spines. Trap did not have the obligation to attack. He could have sat back, secured the map, and made sure that Shin never got another base. But attacking into an unknown quantity of lurkers is a recipe for strongly diced disaster. It was a trap. And now you're in deep Shin. Oh, that's a tough one. Trap historically has had a lot of dramatic games that end in similar fashion. That's one of the things that has kept him off that pedestal of... Oh my god, Shin, what are you doing? Hey, Jimmy! Dynasty. Oh, this is his side of the map, arguably, but expanding to the outside. But it's one of the things that kept Trap from being a consistent contender for the top tier of most tournaments, or in the list of like the greatest players in StarCraft 2 history. Is sometimes he just decides, I'm doing it. Like, but not in the same way as like a Parting or a Zest. Come back, Zest. Apparently Zest isn't coming back, and that makes me deeply upset. At least at the moment, though I don't really blame him. Anyways, but the kind of half-hearted attack, it's just, there wasn't the confidence behind it. That first set of attacks was top-notch. Just carving his way through the base, completely slicing down the tech tree, but then kind of getting locked in, almost a tunnel vision. We've all been there. But unfortunately, when it comes to professional StarCraft 2, if players make relatable mistakes, they are indeed very much mistakes. It's like, well, I could probably kill him. He only has a few lurkers. Famous last psionically spoken word. Well, Stargate is on the way. Game 2. Another opportunity to stabilize here. Trap walled off the front and took the back. All right, business in front and gold minerals in back. But obviously he wants to take a third early. Interesting choice. I kind of like it. I don't know, it's somewhat similar to what Shin did by expanding to the outside of the goal, which is kind of the default play for Zerg players. As otherwise, you're just going to get poked and prodded by the Adepts and Oracles. Speaking of which, that was just an obscene amount of damage last game with those Adepts and Oracles. Just a ridiculous amount done for relatively little cost. The fact that Shin was able to recover. I feel like he's a very... I know we have a lot of Rocky-style Zergs, but Shin is definitely a player that gets punched in the face a bunch. And occasionally recovers. But he has a lot of experience with it, so... part of why I think he was able to take the game in the long run. And get on my queen! Brenda. Wow. Okay. What is that? Don't take that tone with me! Ooh. Oracles. 4 kills, 4 drones in total. A whole bunch of Zerglings. 10, which I would count as a bunch. Like, maybe not, well, if a bunch is 10, that would be a whole bunch. So, I've altered the rules. Probably don't alter them any further. Both sides kind of awkwardly mining the gold, which gets significantly, befuddled by any sort of buildings in there. Technical term again. Oracles gliding through in between the bases. As the queens will disagree with them yet again. A roach ward on the way. Twilight and Forge for trapped behind. What was that? Blink is the choice. And the Shady Bunch heading in. He's gonna... The old inside-out maneuver. Where you attack this base from the inside of the mineral line. This is the Hatchery Owners Association, the HOA. And with all due respect... Well, alright, it worked. Oracle's just going for it, though. Crap. Wow, wow. Oh my. Traps Oracle Micro. Magnifique. Like, this is just perfect. It's an art form, okay? They are such a weird unit to Micro. Well, I mean, at points, perfect. Other points, not as perfect. But generally, the Oracle Micro has been top-notch. When Trap is focusing on them. There have been some moments where he definitely kind of wandered into enemy fire and died horribly, which was not as good, in case that needed explaining. Meanwhile, the Zerglings, the Oracles, the Oracles are like, hey, you guys need some help? The Stalkers, meanwhile, dying. Oracle's a bit late on lighting up those pulsar beams. And another few Stalkers go down, but still. Shin expanding now to the 4th, in between the bases, finally connecting the creep, though not entirely. The Queen's working their way down. +1 ground weapons now done. 13 Hydras on the way, but not yet delivered for Shin. And that means there's a window here, with the +1 Stalkers and the Oracles in tow. Before those Hydras, especially without group spawns, come out, the Queens, one goes down. Zerglings trickling through, but that +1, very helpful with the Stalkers, especially if you have the critical mass. At the point when you can physically block Stalkers with other Stalkers, that's the critical mass. Probably around 12 to 15. The Hydras do help mitigate that somewhat, but they really need the range upgrade, the groovy spawns they just completed, in order to help out. More Stalkers on the way, but the Zerglings again with the backstab on top of the 4th base. And having to cancel that would be a huge deal, just outright losing it. No, Oracles come back, save the day. The Zealots will fight them heads up. And no +1 melee this time. A focus instead on Hydras and Roaches thrown in for Shin. That means the Stalkers can fight and trade. They have to be careful not to get caught out once these speed upgrades are completing, both Roach and Hydra speed in production. But there is an opportunity to just, instead of potentially being surrounded and killed, you just kind of brawl it out with the Roach Hydra. There's a Lurker down on the way. hive tech as well. Because peas in a pod. The oracles are sharking around looking for a revelation. The hydras. Few zerglings trickling through. Very important to kind of draw fire from the stalkers so they can't focus on more priority targets. We've got a Colossus in production. And a trap working on extending its thermal lances. A laudable goal. Is he gonna expand to the other side of the gold for that rich Vespine? I feel like it might just be worth it to long distance mine it. Like, put like 5 or 6 probes on it. Rather than building another Nexus. Though the Nexus can help kind of backstop this area, which is now a liability because it's no longer walled off by the minerals. So. Yeah. Lurker's done. Lurker range on the way. +2 ranged attack. 2 Vipers. But you know what upgrade he's not getting? You might be like, Winter, obviously Overlord speed. Yes, technically correct. But also adrenal glands. Ah. Not as relevant this game because it's not a Zergling focused composition, but the Stalker, the sacrificial Stalker, trying to dive in and see how many Lurkers there are, or at least get a gauge of it. Very smart move, though not exactly the most reliable thing. Meanwhile, another base being taken by Shin. Trap, kind of looking around. Actually hit my monitor with my hand there, which, ow. Immortals! Unfortunately, 1 Colossus, not that scary. The 2 Immortals and 2 Archons, though, much scarier, though less imposing. Lurkers just dotted throughout, almost like parts of the terrain effectively are. Charge lots on the spines. Queens, transfuse, saves the day, dragging the army back out of position. Though Trap maintaining the aggression here. Very importantly, he hasn't been delayed on his 4th or his 5th base. He's been able to sit on the edge of the creep and force Shin to respond to him. So, oh my, that's a dangerous game with those Lurkers popping out. Oh my, even if he can target him down, I don't... Whoa, risky business. Trap. And the Colossus, but the Vipers. Stalkers blink in. So Vipers flinch first. Nidus is on the way. Blinding Cloud is dangerous. Abduct definitely so as well. And are there any Templar out there? No Templar for feedback on the Vipers, which means no way to really negate those incredibly effective spells. The Immortal production continues. +3 ground weapons on the way for Trap. +2 melee? No. +2 armor. I was already thinking about looking at the Zerg upgrades, and it kind of all blended together, and I don't need to say these things out loud. And the Immortals are coming up and bashing into the Lurkers. The Colossus, get over here! The Immortals, I was already here. The Lurkers are they all dead? What? The Vipers just pulled them into a winning fight, and Shin plummets 30 supply as the Lurkers are pummeled into oblivion. Wow. Trap just ends up crushing that fight in much the same way he very much didn't in the previous game. And there's nothing left, and it's all over. Trap takes 1 back. And honestly, the series should be over at this stage. It's just, it didn't work out that way. Clearly trying that decisive, in-your-face Protoss style that is really a tightrope walk between victory and getting your legs amputated violently by Lurkers. So, Game 3, Alcyone. Big L. Whichever one upsets the most people and causes them to wake up and be like, what is wrong with this dude? I'm not gonna like and subscribe ever again. Maybe this one time, but never past that. You're really gonna have to earn it. I'll do some camera push-ups. Yeah, that's a hatchery. I always wondered about doing the intros like that, Like the, wow, look at this dude. Except there's no crowd. It's like, and in the top right in the red, we have Shin. Please clap. Up, he's cannon rushing. And with a forge, it is Trap. So this is part of the reason why we rarely see this build nowadays on the map. Because you could do a cannon rush like back in the olden days. Back in the olden days, before we knew how to design maps, you could cannon rush like this on most of them. Just pop the little probe out there. Now, does he cancel the hatchery? The hatchery is almost done. I think you can make a play of it here. He's already got, yeah. And he slaps down a second cannon. There's the cancel. There's the cancel on the cannon. Now I want the drone to stay around. I always feel like maybe it's worth it to just stick around and see if he cancels the cannon, but the Overlord's there watching for it, so he's gonna see everything at the back. That cannon standing guard. Could maybe be a staging area for some sort of attack, but incredibly unlikely. And now he does have the forge, so there are options on the table. Zerglings, kind of lost track of the probe for a moment. So, defining characteristic, no oracles this game. At least he doesn't have a Stargate yet. Those oracles have been carrying it for Trap. Even though they haven't been the defining characteristic of, like, the fights in the late game, the oracles are the Swiss Army knife of Protoss. They just get so much done. He's done so much with them as well. So, what is it going to be? Twilight Council and a Sentry? Well, the Sentry... just for, actually, I don't know. 100 gas is a big investment if you have no, you need to know why you're spending 100 gas, okay? Otherwise, it can be a waste. Now, he doesn't have an oracle, as I mentioned, profoundly. What do I mean by that? Having a sentry for hallucinated Phoenix or even a hallucinated Oracle to maybe make them freak out is probably the option. Because you need some sort of scouting to know if you're walking into a trap. Zerglings take out the cannon. And a shrine to the Great Dark. DTs. Interesting choice. A bold move. We'll see if it works out for him. Hallucinated Phoenix gives high ground vision to kill the Obi, though gives away that's obviously hallucinated. Well, oh, come on, bro. Hero. I'm sorry, Trap. You can't be doing that. That's not good. Well, he gets it. He sees the Dark Shrine. He kills probes. Did the Overlord die at least? I think it did. But that is an amateur mistake right there. Come on. Shin more than happy to take advantage of it, but that is Well, that's a disaster. Not only does his advanced and Very important to stay hidden. Tech strategy, get completely scouted, but he also loses workers and time. Which is very not good. So now Shin has more workers. He has more bases, at least for a moment. He has hard countered the tech that Trap is going for. And he has a standing army so large, and well, it's just Zerglings, but he has enough Zerglings on the field to prevent any real follow-up, at least for the near future. There is a Spire on the way, which the Hallucinated Phoenix very technically scouted. I'm not sure if he noticed it. He was gliding right over it. Blink is on the way, but it was on the way before the scout, so it's just a good general rule. Spire for Mutas. And again, the reason why you don't usually see Mutas is because they can use their Stargate, which every Protoss has, in order to just build Phoenixes. Even if it doesn't get scouted, usually you have a response. Well, unfortunately here, though, there is no Stargate. There are no Phoenixes. So the best defense is going to be a good offense, as Shin is clearly banking up. That kind of fake attack did successfully force out units here. That was well done by Trap. An old school style of just kind of pump faking an attack and forcing a Zerg to build units. And that delays the Mutas because shit actually got supply blocked. And he's still a bit supply blocked. And now finishes it up. Only 7 Mutas on the way. Gonna need some more Overlords as well. But this is the saving grace. This Trap was able to force out a round of Roaches and Lings. And that delays any additional drones at his 4th base, and does buy him a little time to build up the defenses. But he doesn't have a Stargate at all. So the Phoenix, Hallucinated Phoenix, comes in. I don't know if he noticed the Mutas themselves, but now taking it real seriously, building up cannons. Mutas headed towards the natural. Overall, well, wow, look at the supply. And the blink. Shuts down the Mutas before they can even get started. Gets a couple kills. Where? Are those Adepts? I guess. No, Dark Templar. The Dark Templar got into the main. He moved the Spore Crawlers out of the way, I guess, so. That Shin's up 40 supply. And, that 4th base is kicking in, and now maybe able to re-expand to the gold for the 2nd time this game. Mutas come in, they're gonna start slicing away. And the problem is, Blink Stalkers are a deterrent, but they're not able to chase the Mutas down. Storm is on the way. Templar Archives clearly scouted. Stalkers stalking. 35 Banelings in production for Shin. Okay. Well, that is certainly a choice. He could go to Hive and forget Adrenal Glands, but instead, he could also just go for it. Storm is only halfway done, but there's a lot of Archons. There's some energy on those sentries. Well, we'll see. Here we go. He's got to be very careful with the Oh, he picks up the Archons in order to stop them from breaking his force field, which is kind of a sick play, in that he just gets rolled by the Banes. But so far, an absolutely immaculate defense by Trap. He somehow only lost 2 probes. Another Archon. Oh no, the Banelings get through. Shield battery overcharge isn't enough. The Stalkers blunt forward. Immortals blasting through, but the Zerglings are still trickling into the front. Dodges into the prism yet again. A whole lot of Zerglings dead. Changeling remains behind. But overall, it could have been worse. It was almost perfect. But almost doesn't count when Banelings are involved. If he had just whittled down those Baneling 2 or 3 more, he was that Overseer waiting for a Contaminate, but it's already too late. Storm is done, though there's not enough energy on any of the Templar for it. Another wave. The infestation pit just started. If Trap can recognize this, that Shin is locked into this tech, and he doesn't have a follow-up, well then, he can use that. He can build up, all he needs to do is build up the death ball. I say all he needs to do, which is going to be quite an effort considering the economy that Shin is bringing to bear. He's got 1,100 more resources a minute, and even though he doesn't have Hive Tech, he doesn't need it to put a whole lot of units on the field. And Immortals and Archons and Templar are very, very good. But they're not that good. 2 more Mutas on the way. Just throwing them in there. Making a total of 4, which is not an odd number, but is an odd number. Banelings. He eats it with the shields of the Stalkers. Minimal hull damage. 200 to 134 supply, though. And the siege will continue. Hive begins. Ah, so this was the purpose. The Mutas to kill the Prism. The Zealots. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. Hydralisk Den is on the way as he angles towards the Lurkers. What is going on here? This is an odd... Is the mineral wall mined? It is. But the Zealots will hold. And this is actually quite a distance. He hasn't gone through the mineral wall or the rocks in the center. So Trap is going for it right here. Gonna try to use that choke point at the minerals. And filing through there is going to be almost impossible. Meanwhile, I assume there were Banelings here. They didn't actually find much of a target. Only 2 probes dead. They ran away before the Banes could get anywhere close. Storms everywhere right now. And more Archons merging. Mutas evaporate. Banelings trickling in from the back. He just gave up on the attack idea. Comes to the defense. The Stalkers are being outflanked by the Zealots. No Zealots. Archons. Immortals. Ravagers. Stalkers. Zerglings. Drones. I'm just naming all the units because it's kind of unclear exactly what's happening. 13 drones dead. Trap's army will be routed. Whatever's left of it, which is 4 Stalkers. It could have been worse, but it's certainly not great. He didn't kill any bases. He didn't get a critical mass of workers. And he didn't do... He lost a lot of his tech. All of his Immortals, all of his Templar, and all the King's Archons. The DT, like, oh, wait a second. Like, hey. Hey, that's a freebie. The Overseer Combat, this DT getting pretty serious damage done, but now very dead. The DT is still slicing. Ooh. Trap holding it together. But now there are no lurker upgrades. There's no adrenal glands. Does he have it like... Does he have upgrade blindness? I swear. There are dozens of Zerglings. He's upgrading melee attack. Shin would probably have a 20% higher win rate if we made him sit down for like 3 days straight and do nothing but rush adrenal glands against the AI. I swear, he'd go from like the 8th to the 3rd best Zerg in the world with just that torture level training. I seriously don't know. It's such a it's arguably the most important upgrade for Zerglings. It increases their DPS by more than the attack upgrades themselves. Oh no. But Banelings do just fine on their own. 12 probes and the Nexus itself. But is that a Storm Prism? Indeed it is. Scouting Immortal. He drops out a Templar, trades it for an Immortal. Not a bad trade. And gets away with it, kills a base. Brave Templar, another Scouting Immortal. Oh no. Does he have... He has a Storm! Gonna try to save the day here. And Trap It feels like he's doing about 85% of what he needs to do in order to crush these armies he's fighting. That last 15% is like 90% of the important parts, though. So...
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster.
Oh no, he's reshielding the base, recognizing the banelings themselves may kill it. And has Trap even been able to get back? The army supply gap has been massive. Shin has been maxed out this whole time, whereas Trap has struggled to get over 150. The fact that he's even competitive is quite impressive, but the bell's tolling. The Immortals has storms are good, but the Nexus will fall. Roaches, he doesn't even want roaches anymore. They get behind the mineral line. Knocks out the prism. Trying to sneak away into the corner. That's so many lurkers. A good concave from Trap if he had twice as many units as he does. But there's just not enough here. That's gotta be it, right? Is that another Spire? Did he forget about the first Spire? Yeah, it's very possible, considering how this game has gone. I would never rule out Shin forgetting something. Oh my god, is there no detection? No. Attack your own units with the lurkers in order to kill the... Oh my god, he's doing it. He's actually doing it. He's attacking. So the splash damage doesn't actually kill anything, but you can attack just a single Ling, friendly fire, and it will only kill that Ling with friendly fire. GG, Shin. So, a bit of a clever move. What a series. A heartbreaker for Trap yet again. Shin holds it together, and eventually the lurkers bring it home. But Trap holding his own, but also letting it slip as well. That first game, just a painful one. But I think quite an entertaining series, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made your day just a little bit better. Thank you for watching. If you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. And a lot of hand gestures today. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope it made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.